Thank you for taking this time to listen to this very brief video introducing you to the Leadership Circle. It is a 360 profile, but as you will see, it's much more powerful and impactful than just a typical 360 profile. It really is focusing on leadership development. The leadership myths that I've learned are several. Most of the people teach that it can't be learned, that leadership is just something that people are born with or just become, and there's no learning to be a leader. And a lot of this is driven by books written from leaders that have gotten to a place of leadership, and then they anecdotally share how they got there. And really the research shows that the key to finding out what leadership entails and how to become a leader is to look at the people around those leaders and survey them and find out what they can tell us about what true leadership looks like and is. Another big problem about the myth that you can't learn to be a leader is that most of us function from a reactionary place, and I'll get in more to this later when we have an opportunity to talk about signing up for the Leadership Circle, but that's another important place. If you're from a reactionary place, then you're not even available to show up and listen and to learn leadership. And the other myth is that there's no clear benefits to leadership, and that's clearly a myth, and we will get into that right now. As I said, the leadership profile is a 360 feedback tool. And a 360 feedback tool is simply a tool where 10 or more people around you rate you or survey your leadership skills and your reactionary tendencies and give you kind of a snapshot of who you are as a leader. And what Zenger did, who's a guru in leadership, is he actually he took 30,000 leaders. Now, what's interesting about that in my mind as a physician is that most of healthcare and most of the decisions we make in healthcare are driven by studies that are made up of 100 patients or 200 or 500, and a big, huge study is maybe 1,000 or a couple thousand. And this is a study of 30,000 leaders. And he found something really powerful, that their success and their ability to make their company money is directly correlated with their leadership competencies. And so he took 16 competencies. The Leadership Circle looks at 18, but he took 16 of them and found that in this 20% range right here, this range right here, the bottom 20%, when they were surveyed, had scores that ranged in the 30th percentile or lower. And those people in that range were losing money. K is just a constant. We're losing minus 1K of money for their company. The other big area of people is from the 20th percentile to the 80th percentile. Now those people in that area, in that range, those leaders, that middle group, have scores ranging from 40 to 60th percentile on their 360s. And those people in that range are actually making 1K for their companies. Now what's interesting is this 80K, this 80%, those high achievers, those are the extraordinary leaders, and this range is a range of people who are in this range from 80% to above, and those have at least 4 competencies in the 80th percentile or above, and a balance between task and relationship competencies. But you're saying 4, wow, that's hard. Is that a lot? That's 4 out of 18. It doesn't seem like much. But what's interesting is if you get to this point, which is about the 64th percentile, that's when one competency, 1 out of the 18, is at the 80th percentile or better. That puts you at the 64th percentile, and you see that the curve starts really shooting up right at this point. So once you're there, you're really headed towards this 2 and 4 times money making for your company. And so there's a clear linkage between your leadership abilities and competencies and your ability to make money for your company and drive the success of your company. This statement's obvious. Effective leadership outperforms ineffective leadership. But what's really important is what they did is they took one step further. They took these leaders and that had 360 surveys, and they asked them questions about their company specifically. And they asked these questions about how their company's doing, their revenue growth, their market share, their profitability, these types of business questions. And then they categorized their businesses from the top 10% of businesses to the bottom 10%. And it is no surprise, but it's really powerful data, that this is a picture of the top 10% of businesses and their the leaders in those businesses and how they look on their profile. Now, you're not familiar with the profile yet, but what's interesting about this is the green is what people, the 360 surveyors, assessed these leaders to be. They assessed them in these 80 percentile ranges for many of these areas, and the maroon color is actually the leaders' assessment of themselves. So clearly you can see that these are the creative areas. These are the leadership competencies, the 18 competencies, and these leaders are, of the top 10% of companies, are clearly in many areas greater than 80% and really in a very high creative area. But then you look at the bottom 10%. This is the bottom 10% of businesses, and lo and behold, it's the flip. It's the reverse. You have very few leadership competencies being shown out and expressed to the people around them in their leadership, and you have much more reactive tendencies. And this is clearly evidence that the leadership has a clear linkage to the success of your company and the success of you as an individual. So why the leadership circle? You can learn to be an effective leader. Increasing your leadership competencies will increase your success in business, and increasing and building upon your leadership strengths will provide you and your business with greater success. It's been shown with incredible accuracy, and with 30,000 leaders, this is a very powerful tool with a lot of support and research to focus and understand that there's a direct correlation between building these leadership competencies and growing your business and increasing your business's revenue and being successful. Contact me to arrange next steps. Thanks.